characters were insufferable. They were like arrogant and annoying. Hello guys. Clearly you can see we're not in our normal setup today. I'm in my PJs, we're in a different room. I'm gonna be icing my ankle and I have my heating pad. But due to recent events, hold on, I feel like we're so far away from each other. Oh, hi. Due to recent events, I had to review this book. You already know by the title that I did not finish. I DNFed The Irresistible Urge to Fall for the Enemy. I debated whether or not I was gonna make this video, to be honest with you. I DNF'd at 20%. I've never reviewed a book that I haven't finished before, but this one has been on the forefront of my highly anticipated reads for months, and I was already anticipating doing a review, and I was talking with my friends, and I'm like, I haven't read the whole thing. Maybe it gets better. Maybe I don't have a good idea of everything. Can I still do a review? And she's like, just do it. If it's bad, just do it. And here we are. So I'm gonna be, just ignore me. Tendonitis of the ankle, anxiety-induced digestive issues. So we're a little bit of a hot mess, but the show will go on. Hold on, I need something to prop myself. I feel so, oh my gosh. Sorry I'm being dramatic. This book, it's currently Sunday. I started this book on Tuesday and I'm 20% in. If that tells you anything to how bad it is. Let's talk about it. You know what? There's gonna be no spoiler-free section. It's just gonna be spoilers because I wanna keep this quick. I don't wanna talk about this for too long because I want us all to move on. There are two main things I wanna talk about. One, I'm gonna talk about why I DNF'd it, and I'm gonna also talk about the current issue with fan fictions being traditionally published, issues around it, issues with marketing recently, potential lawsuits, writing development styles, just how differently that looks and how to properly do it. Because there are examples of people who have written fan fiction now traditionally published that did it very well in my opinion. This book just did not. So before we get into it, you are free to have your own opinion. It's okay if you love this book. 5 stars, good for you. This was not for me, you know? Okay, so let's first talk about the fan fiction aspect because that is a hot topic these days. The marketing a book as like inserts fan fiction is just asking for a lawsuit in my mind because like for people that don't know what fan fiction is, there's a world where people take these characters and kind of redevelop them into their own stories and no one's making money off of it. It's like normally a very respectable space where everyone knows like these people do not own the rights to these characters, yada yada yada. But when we start entering the actual like published world and you start marketing books as whatever fan fiction, that's going to get messy really quickly because you're now taking a different author's original character and being like, hey, yeah, they're using these characters in their story. It's like plagiarism. It essentially is when you're making money off of it. But how you can do this properly is develop your own original characters, change them so they are not carbon copies of who they were based off of, give them backstory, character development, and it's fine. And that's something that this book lacked. I went in knowing this was a Hermione fan fiction, and it reads very much like a Hermione fan fiction except for like the previous history and tension. But there's no character development. I know I'm 20% in. Also, if I'm stabbing, it's because there's mosquito bites right now on my legs and they hurt a lot. So just if you see me like making biscuits over here like a cat, it's because I'm stabbing my mosquito bites. Anyway, there was the characters were insufferable. They were like arrogant and annoying, and I could like see like Draco and Hermione in them, but you can't go into a story that's an original story, book 1, and be like, oh yeah, I already know what these characters are like. Without like, it's very clearly a fan fiction where you're supposed to have some of that already established information, and it's just, there's no development there. Maybe it happens later on, but like, they were just so insufferable. That's like the best word I can think of right now, is insufferable, because I did not care about either of their point of views. Or Orion is a healer. She is taking care of, there's some like pox outbreak and she's helping out, but she essentially was bribed by Osric, who is bribing her with money to fund the pox research to heal him of this like seemingly fatal disease with no cure. And I'm 20% way in, and like nothing has really happened. He bribed her, he's an assassin, she has no respect for him, he finds her snooty and uptight, and it's just her trying to figure out how to heal him over and over again. And I'm bored. I'm so bored. There's no tension. They just don't like each other. They have no chemistry. And maybe they're 20% way in, but like, I know this is like an enemies to lovers situation, given the marketing and everything. It was, so anyway, character development, fan fiction related, how that ties in. The second main part I want to talk about is the world building with the fan fiction connection. So in fan fiction, you're pulling all of these characters and world. You have the opportunity or potential to pull from a world where you don't have to develop, let's say in like the world of Harry Potter, Hogwarts, you do not have to explain Hogwarts and the magic system. It's just already set for you. The world building in the Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy felt strangely overcomplicated to the point that I didn't understand like what I was reading at times. I'm like, how is this person or character relevant? How are these connected? What does Osric actually do besides being an assassin? I'm hearing him so much about how he's like paid to kill, but all of his interactions are just with Orion. I don't actually know anything about him. Orion's like, he seems to have a more sophisticated side, not the side of a killer, and he's very like meticulous with how he moves and everything and talks. But we don't see any of that when it's his point of view. It's just, his purpose is almost to only interact with her, it seems, and then she's like either healing the sick people from pox or healing him. And I was just so bored. And I'm like, what are all these new terms that like, how do they come into play? I need like a glossary for all the new terms that were coming in with the world building and magic system. And I'm like, I just don't even understand what's happening. It was like there was an attempt to build a new world, but it was not making sense. So my biggest two issues really were I despised the characters. I didn't think they were cute together at all. There was no tension. And their both heads were so arrogant and insufferable. And but I know where they're pulling from. I know they're pulling from like a Hermione complex, but there's no development of why they're this way or explaining like when it's even their point of view, like explaining why they're this way. They just simply are the best. And that's all there is to it. And then the world building, I was just like, there's so much focus on healing and pushing them together. But like everything else, I'm like, what's the point of all of this? Like I know like they don't like each other. They kind of don't like each other. They don't agree. But like, is there like a war? Is there like, what are the politics behind it? I don't know. Because I DNFed. So I don't feel guilty having the approval from my friend to be like, yeah, it's okay if you DNF. I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders. I will note the only other book that's probably made me this mad. Hold on. This got changed to high. Oh my gosh, my belly. The only other book that made me this mad this year was Fearless, the third book of the Powerless series trilogy. But I was able to finish that at least. It was like, it made me angry and the characters made me angry and everything going on was not fun. But I could at least like get through it. The writing style feels like it's almost doing too much. I don't know if it was like, I don't know if pompous is the right word, but it feels pompous to me. Where I'm like, what is happening here. It's like we're going for high fantasy, but completely like missing the mark, but just want this to be a romance more so. I don't, but like there is no they don't seem to have any spark or anything. I don't know. I promised myself I wouldn't talk long about this. Clearly I'm here. I literally rolled out of bed when I was after talking to my friend, and I'm like, I respect you guys. I respect you guys too much to not tell you my thoughts on how this went. It just was not for me at all. I browsed a little bit through the Goodreads reviews, and it looks like there are also mixed reviews there. Maybe I'll give it another try, but like, I don't know. I'm leaning toward no. And I think that's okay. Anyway, thanks for listening to my little rant. I'm gonna go read about cowboys now. I have my 5 books I need to read in 3 weeks for the Chicago Public Library Adult Reading Challenge, so that's gonna be a top priority for me. I'm very excited for that. But yeah, I'm glad we can move on from this together. But let me know, did you like it? Did you dislike it? Low-key, put a spoiler warning, but low-key you can spoil it. You can spoil it for me in the comments. Just make sure you put a spoiler warning for other people if they don't want to get spoiled, but like, low-key, give me the tea. What did we think? Anyway, love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning into this little rant review, but I'll see you guys sometime. As you can tell, physically, I'm falling apart right now. Also mentally, which is causing this issue right now, also falling apart. So if you've noticed, I'm posting like a lot less on YouTube, other socials. It's because of that. Your girl's not doing well, but the horrors persist, and so will I. But anyway, I'll see you whenever I post next. Check out the other socials. Sometimes I'll be there. You can see what's happening. All right, bye.